Good, you guys? Rasati out here in Singapore. I'm back at it, man. So, I have been stockpiling a bunch of ideas that I want to talk about on this podcast, and a lot of it is because I've been going back through my classes. So right now, I'm about to complete day 10 of Mass and Kip's 40-day journaling exercise. It's been horrendous, only because I've had to dig deep and really face a couple of my fears, a couple of my coping strategies, my survival patterns, all of that. It's been kind of ugly. But I wrote all these things down because one by one I do need to talk about them. I need to let you know that, hey, I've been through this, right? And a lot of times you don't get a chance to fix some of your survival patterns until you find that you're using them once again. A lot of times when you go through a crisis, you kind of pack up all that box full of everything crisis related and you put it away, you shove it into the corner of your mind. And a lot of times you don't have to pull that back out. But when it comes to relationships, relationships are full of survival patterns. When they say you bring baggage into a relationship, they're not lying. Because the person you are today is because of your past relationships. And the reason you are quiet and maybe very defensive, maybe you are very suspicious of everything that's going on, is because of something that's happened to you in the past. You've taught yourself that you need to be this way so that you don't repeat your past failures, your past mistakes. So today, I'm going to open an old wound and talk about something that I've done without knowing and gotten used to doing because it's become a lot easier for me. I have dated two narcissists. Back to back, mind you. That was about 16 years of my life, and I got out of one and got back into another right after. It was like back to back because I didn't know any better. It was a rebound. I was thinking it wasn't a rebound, but it was because, y'all, hindsight is 2020. So I looked back and I understood something in the process of this journaling. Now, I want to read you the prompt that reminded me of the topic I want to talk about because that is also quite important. So if I go back, the quote that I wrote down, or the snippet that I wrote down, is keeping women around me when I was dating. Now, I've been a tomboy all my life. I didn't really relate to women all that much. My mom wanted to be one of those frilly little girls that ran around with pigtails and bows and ribbons. Yeah, not me. Not me. I got two little brothers and I got a bunch of male cousins. I didn't have that many girls around me as I was growing up. So I kind of got used to being one of the guys, which also means it's a different level of understanding and intimacy between friends because I could relate to what the guys were talking about because I grew up around them, right? So when it came to sporting events, if I didn't understand the sport, I'd just be quiet and listen and understand and ask questions where appropriate. And eventually it was because I was interested in the sport they were watching that they let me into their circle. It's just the way it was, right? So a lot of girls would think, oh my God, she's just, she just wants the boys' attention. It wasn't like that. I just didn't relate to girls and the way they thought. I don't know, tomboy over here, right? So what I didn't realize, because I had that comfort and security about being around the guys, I had no problem being around the guys. Being around girls is different for me, though. I was always taught that the girls are, catty and they stab you in the back and they have, ulterior motives for being around you and stuff. And for a girl, that really was not popular. I bought into the hype. I really believed that. So my first boyfriend was in college and I was with him for about 8 years. And honestly, when he told me that, certain girls were just friends with him, I believed him. I mean, I didn't know that much about girls and I just left it be. But I did watch. I watched and I saw that how some girlfriends would, restrict their boyfriends into what they can and can't do. I mean, the boys would be like, yo, we're going out for boys' night. And suddenly all the girlfriends, oh, I have a stomach ache. I have a headache. I'm dying. You can't go. You have to take care of me. And I was like, wow. Yeah, I'm not like that. You're going to go out. You're going to go have fun. But I know you're going to come home to me. So we're good to go. Like I left them to have that kind of space. Yeah, I wasn't thinking, but I thought it was the right thing to do. That's what I thought love was, to give you the space to, what is that? It's a DMX song. It says, let a dog out to roam and don't worry, at some point he'll come home. Yeah, that's not the lyric, but you know what I mean. I wanted them to have that freedom. I wanted it to be their choice that they came back to me, that I was good enough for them to repeatedly want more of, right? And that's what I was thinking. But this person, convinced me that the people that I was suspicious of, or the people that I started to hang out with that were also friends, it was like, your group of guy friends that hang out with your boyfriend, your boyfriend's guy friends, right? And their girlfriends, they become your friends because you all hang out together eventually. It becomes a big group thing. And they would tell me not to hang out with those girls or whatever because they talked too much, or they heard someone talking about me, and because it was, detrimental to my health and my well-being, and they were talking crap about me, maybe I shouldn't be friends with them. And of course, I'm thinking my boyfriend has my best interests at heart. Why would he ever lie to me or tell me something, that wouldn't help me or that was a lie at all? I believed him. So I happily started cutting off people, because when it comes down to it, my relationship is important to me. And if I want my relationship to work, I'm going to get rid of people that would get in the way of that. Right? Classic narcissistic move, because you're alienating the girl or the boy, whoever it is. It could be male or female that do this. You're alienating your significant other from sources that would give them information that is contradicting who they're telling you that they are. Yes, see? So back then, I used to get very worried about, the health of my relationship. And when they tell me something that was for my own good, I would get rid of the people that were concerned, and I would start hanging out by myself. I didn't go out with the girls, because when I went out with the girls, when the boys went out with the boys, it was a one-horse town, y'all. We ended up at the same place, and the things that I saw upset me, so I just stopped going out. I didn't want to get in a fight with my boyfriend every time we went out with our separate group of friends, only to end up at the same place, because of the way that he would react when he saw me. Now, instead of seeing his behavior as a problem and cutting him off, I took it as I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people, and I should probably change me. Yeah, naive, very, very young, didn't know better. So what I ended up doing was changing my behavior, and I became that girlfriend that would chill at home, focus on my work, which I was a work study student. So I worked to pay part of my bill at school while I was in school. And I was a really good student. So I focused on studying. So I would play music, I would chill in my room, and I would do what I needed to do until old boy came home. I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was a great deal. Like, I have a guy, he's going to come home to me. I don't have to worry about where he is and what he's doing. He's with his boys. They'll tell me, right? Maybe. I don't know. But I'm not there to see this, this disgusted look on his face when he saw me out with my girls and we ended up at the same place. So rather than have that reaction, I could at least be happy when he comes home, because he's coming home to me. I thought that was great. That was brilliant. I had it. I had the life. Yeah, no, not so much. I had effectively distanced myself from everybody. Social distancing back then, this was like 2000s, right? Yeah. I had distanced myself from everybody that could contradict my lifestyle and tell me anything different, and had concocted this dreamland in my in my mind of how I had a great boyfriend and a great life and everything was working out great. It wasn't the case. Eventually, when I realized that he was cheating on me, I started comparing myself to the girl that he was cheating on me with. Big mistake. Because I can't be compared to those people, and they can't be compared to me. They're all individual people. They're all different. But that's what I did. I started comparing myself to, what does she look like that I don't look like? What does she do that I don't do? How does she dress that I don't dress like? And it became this big swirling, downhill roller coaster of emotions, of me trying to make sense of something that really wasn't my fault in the first place. I did the classic mistake of going after the girl rather than going after the guy. He should have known better. He knew what he was doing. But that being said, I stopped keeping women around me. I stopped associating with people. I would rather be a loner than have friends around me, is what I started doing. So when I finally broke it off with this first boyfriend, and got into another relationship, I was looking at it as, hey, once again, I'm going to be the best wife, girlfriend that I could possibly be. And if I don't give you an excuse to leave me to go get what you need somewhere else, then you won't go leave me and get whatever you need somewhere else. So I became the all-encompassing, I could do it all kind of girlfriend, because I thought that's what my mom had taught me. That's what my mom did. That's why she's still married, right? I don't know. Anyway, so the second relationship was difficult as well. The second relationship was my ex-husband. And again, I spent about 7-8 years with him, but this time there were kids involved, so I couldn't just very well just run off and leave them in the lurch, because they were already coming from broken families where they were shuttling between mom's house and dad's house. And both of them had different moms. So it wasn't just one mom where both the kids got to be together. It was both the kids go their separate ways and then they come back to this one house where they're trying to manage being around each other because they've been single kids all this time. Anyway, the point being that even in this relationship, I was advised not to hang out with this girl and that girl because those girls were coming after my man, supposedly. But these were girls that were friends of mine, and I didn't understand why they were going after him in the first place. But hey, my man, he loves me, right? He's living with me, right? So that means that he has my best interests at heart. Nope, he was alienating me from everybody once again. And so once again, I had this period of time where I didn't question anything he was doing because I needed to show him I trusted him, because this specific person was very, very paranoid. He was paranoid about men being around me, about women being around me. He was convinced that, people would try me regardless of sex because I was just like, he was gassing me up to think that I was so great that anybody would want to be with me and he needed to keep me for himself. And I was kind of flattered. I mean, who wouldn't be, right? But I didn't know better. And at the time, once again, I cut everybody off and I made sure I didn't have women around me. But once again, I found that he was attracted to a different kind of woman, one who was not built the way that I was. They were very, very voluptuous women, and they were very, very racy. They were very confident in the clothing that they wore. I'm kind of like minimal, man. I'm simple. I like comfort over sex appeal, and I don't think I carry sex appeal very well. But the point being that I changed for him because the relationship was important to me. Now, I had packed all those things up. The relationship from the 2000s, the relationship from the 2010s, like those are the two relationships I've ever been in. That's it. Period. None others. And it wasn't until I started kind of, talking to people here in Singapore that I realized that I have this habit of keeping people away from me because, number one, I don't know how to manage women around me when I'm with somebody. Number two, I've been told that women will go after your man, so you need to cut them off because that's what my exes told me. And number three, I've had women around that really did try my man in front of me. I've been to the club with my ex-husband where there were girls that I worked with that were friends of mine that I lived with at the time, and they were feeling him up on the dance floor while he was dancing with me, and I could feel it because obviously he was like the sandwich, right? It was weird, it was strange. But all of this behavior teaches me that this is the way people are. It's formed this belief system that I can't be around women. When I'm dating someone, I need to be exclusive to this one person, which means I have no friends anymore, which is wrong. It means that it's a defense mechanism. It's a survival pattern that I've adopted over the years that does not serve me or my growth, but it's kind of hardwired into me now. So I was in a specific journaling activity where I had to write down things that I was afraid of. I was looking at, places in my life where I was not growing very much. My relationships are one of them, my romantic relationships. I have been happily single for about 7 years, and that's because I'm a single mom now. Anyone who would come into my life has to be okay with being around my child. It can't be just sex because I'm not built like that, and I want someone who stimulates my mind. As it is, I'm a homebody. I don't have that many friends, and I do speak with everybody. It's not a big deal, but I found myself, as I was starting to get close to one person in particular, I found myself reducing who I was outside of the relationship. Survival pattern. I did this again. I'm doing this again. But it also means that I stopped talking to anyone of the opposite sex with respect to this person, even though we're not official, we're just getting to know each other. And I also stopped telling girls about this relationship because I'm afraid of the way that they might react. It meant that I was not confident in myself. It meant that I was not willing to test this relationship to see if it would go the distance or not by limiting the amount of things around me that would destroy the relationship. Now, ordinarily speaking, that sounds like a really good idea to get rid of anything that might threaten the relationship itself. But it also means that I'm creating abnormal circumstances under which I would start a relationship, which is not good either. I need people to filter out. Which means the people that I speak to, the way that I speak to them, they need to understand this is who I am. It's not meant to hurt anybody. It's meant to actually be friendly and caring to everyone alike. And I need to resist the urge to do what I've always done, which is alienate myself from everybody else in order to keep a relationship, because that's not normal. And that's not the ideal that I want anyway. Ideally, if I'm in a relationship, I want my guy to be happy to be home with me with the kid, where we watch movies and cartoons are included. We maybe play board games and we cook together and we do husband-wife kind of stuff, because I need to know if you can hang as a husband, because the intention is to get married eventually. Again, if I can't, I mean, I don't know if I can find somebody alive that would fit the bill, but the point is, that's the goal. That's what I want, right? I want a forever and ever. But in order to find the right forever and ever, that means I can't stop my friends from coming around. I can't stop talking to the women that I've befriended in the last 7 years. I can't stop talking to the gentlemen that I've befriended over the last 7 years, because honestly, I'm not offering myself up to everyone the way I would offer myself to my boyfriend or my husband or whoever, whoever the guy is that I'm involved with. I found myself cringing at the idea of having women around me. Suddenly I was worried about whether I was beautiful enough. Now I know better than most that everyone is beautiful in their own way. Everyone has this light about them when they're confident and when they're in a good mood. I needed to be secure in myself enough to be able to be around these people, because I also know that just because I'm pretty doesn't mean that you won't find someone else pretty as well. Just because I am helpful and understanding and loving doesn't mean that you won't find that comfort in someone else as well. I'm not naive anymore. But that fear persists. That fear that I might be left for someone else persists. But I won't know if the person I'm with is worthy or not if I continually get rid of all temptations in order to keep him around. I'm not a fan of this, this trend right now where people want to be private. They say it's private, but it's actually secret. They can't be seen with you in public. They can't be seen with you on social media. They can't have you promote their things, or they can't be promoting your things for fear that, somebody will, put two and two together and decide, oh my God, these people are dating each other. What business is it of anybody's if y'all are seeing each other or not, as long as y'all are happy? As long as you're not out there terrorizing the world together. What's the problem, right? But people are like that because they want to have more than one secret relationship at the same time. And I'm not dumb, I know what that is. But even then, I need to be whole in myself and secure in my own appearance to know that there are so many people out there, filter or not, makeup or not, that are worthy of attention and worthy of, compliments and all these things, and it does not take away from me. And that has been the biggest fear that I've had to tackle recently, because not being in a relationship means I don't have to face any of these things. This person that I've been talking to or like getting to know has only been in the last couple of months. And so suddenly all these things are surfacing and I have to deal with them. I have to work on myself. There's always a lesson to be learned. There's always a section of myself that I need to work on. And it's not that I'm jealous. It's not that I am, anti-feminist. It's not any of those things. It's something in my past that has taught me to behave a specific way, and I'm trying to change the behavior, which is not easy. I need to identify first the pattern that I have. I need to identify the story that I'm telling myself to justify the pattern that I'm doing. I need to look at what emotions are involved with this pattern that I have, the behavior that I'm projecting. And those things are not easy to do. For me to get on here and tell the world that I, for a very, very, very long time, have been afraid of being around other women for fear that they might take my man, or my man might be, tempted to go elsewhere, is telling you that if I went through this, you probably have too. And honestly speaking, whether he roams or not, whether he leaves me or cheats or not, is not my problem. It's actually his. Nothing I do will stop a man from cheating. But the sooner he cheats, the faster you can filter him out as not the right fit for you. And I'm not saying that once he cheats, you cut him off and that's it, that's done. I'm saying once he cheats and he gets caught cheating and he's held accountable for the cheating or the behavior or whatever it is that he's doing that's not right, Once he's held accountable, does he change his behavior? Does he show you that, oh my God, no, I'm afraid of losing you. I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep you, so I will change my behavior. That is what I'm looking for. Because I can't have long term or forever and ever with a person who's not willing to look at their faults as well. Who's not willing to say, you know what, I've done this all my life and it's been okay up until now, and you're telling me it's not okay. And you know what, I don't want to lose you, so I want to change. That is someone you can build with. So, I don't know what survival patterns you have, but I really want to talk about this aspect because I'm embarrassed to say that I have this. I'm embarrassed to say that I went through this for so many years and it was a survival pattern of mine. I enjoyed being around narcissists because it eliminated all of my threats for me, which is dumb. Which means I didn't have to learn how to be around people. I avoided that lesson. And so now, here I am, being an adult, trying to work through my crap. And I'm telling you, it's not pretty. It's not comfortable. I've cried a lot with some of the realizations that I've gone through. And I know it's going to make me a better person. I know it's going to give me a different level of relationship than I've ever been used to before. Yes, people can tell you all kinds of things for your own good. But you got to know what's good for you too. And I need to be around people. And I need to learn how to deal with some of those little monsters inside of me that tell me that, I'm not good enough when I'm next to certain people. So, a little bit more revealing about who I am and what I've been going through lately. But I know that if I've been through this, you've been through it too. People ask, why do you always choose unavailable men? Well, guess what? Because it's comfortable. Because it's something I know. It's something I'm used to. My dad was not emotionally available. Neither one of my fiancés was emotionally available. And it gave me the space I needed to be myself a little bit. But it also gave me a lot of paranoia about other women and being friends with women in general. It also gave me a lot of anxiety about when they would leave me, whether they would leave me, why they would leave me. And so it's not until you're back in that situation that you get to heal a lot of those things. Sure, I took time. I really took time to be by myself because I needed it. I didn't know what it was like to be me on my own. And honestly, getting used to that peace and quiet, nothing quite like that. And so my threshold, my tolerance for nonsense in a relationship has greatly reduced. Now, yes, I want a relationship. I want to fall in love. I'm in love with the idea of falling in love. But that isn't to say that I can't tell for myself whether something's good for me or not. And it's my duty to heal those parts of me that are still kind of gullible and naive. Because I need to learn to say no. I need to learn to set boundaries. I need to tell people when they've made a mistake or not. And that's something I don't enjoy doing. And emotional, intimate relationships, that's the ultimate test, isn't it? I think I've said this 1,000 times before when I do our episodes with Wild Love Nation. If you can't say no during sex, chances are you're not saying no anywhere else in your life either. You can't be a people pleaser. Because guaranteed you can please everyone around you, but you will be miserable. So, as I uncover little bits and pieces of these ugly survival patterns that I have, and I try really hard to change because I do want a different outcome, I want you to know what it is that I'm going through. I want you to see what it is that I'm struggling with because I'm betting a lot of you are struggling with the same thing. All right, you guys, I'll catch you again soon. But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please drop them in the comments below and I'll get to them. But in the meantime, y'all take care. All right? Bye.